At night, when the lights start coming on, a howling rises from the city. Nobody knows why or where it comes from. I just listen until it fades away. I want to leave the city, but I can't, even now. I try to imagine what you would want me to do, what you would say to me. I try to hear your voice, but sometimes I can barely remember your face. Things just fade. I can't know if you have a memory, so I'm writing to tell you what's happened, and to tell you some other things. It feels good, this light on my hands. It's warm. If I could tell you about only one thing, it would be our walks through the city. The way a place looks when it's been abandoned, how it feels like the wilderness. Ours was one of the first cities to lose power. Right away I wanted to leave the city, like everyone else, but you wanted to stay. I said the city wasn't safe, but it was your home and you said it would be like giving up. And I couldn't leave you, I wouldn't. Then we started walking, and the city became something new for me. You called it a sleeping giant. I began to understand why we stayed. The night was something else. I wouldn't let us be caught in it, and you allowed me that. So we'd come home before dark, to our little basement room. You filled the room with photographs of people, some old ones of us, people we knew, but mostly photos you found, pictures left behind. You guessed at their names and their lives. I was happy to have them there to keep us company, filling in for everyone that left. We would eat what we had, then lay in bed and talk, tell each other stories. I'd make up little fantasies about the rebirth of everything, how fast and alive things would be again one day. I wonder now how we survived, day to day. We'd trade the things you made with a woman who came in from the hills, from a farm with a number of families living together. And what we traded shouldn't have been enough, but people were always so generous with you. And each time she would ask us to come back with her, and you would say thank you, but never no, just thank you. She said there were other people she traded with, but now I'm not sure it was true. I couldn't admit it then, but she kept us alive. I begged you to leave and avoid getting sick yourself. I pleaded with you over and over until I was too weak to say anything else. In my dreams, I saw my own death. And yours too. That day we went for my first walk in weeks, and I was so happy to be out with you. We went places I knew we should have avoided, places we hadn't seen for years. But we went too far, and the night came so fast. I hated myself for letting it happen. And then we saw something so strange. That night we talked for hours about what it might mean, where it came from. I thought it could have been from a generator somewhere, but there was no reason for the light and no people around. I wondered aloud about the electrical system, how it could work after so long. You began to cry and couldn't stop. It gave you so much hope. The next day I found something in the ad we hadn't seen. It was an address, handwritten. Who knew what it all meant? I was just relieved something had changed. We went there and found nothing. But you didn't care. The light was enough to keep you searching for months. She said the same advertisements were hung all over outside the city and in nearby areas. We kept walking, and every day would check the warehouse. And then one day there was a man there. Everything about him seemed out of place in the city, new and fresh. He said he was from an energy consortium, and they were researching new technologies, new sources of power, trying to relight the world. He told us to read it and said they were looking for a volunteer. It said that mankind was unique in newfound ways, in ways that until now could not be measured. It talked about the potential of what it called human principle dynamism and about shattering the 60% efficiency barrier. I read it over and over and then asked you what you thought it meant. You said, the soul is real. Now everything felt wrong. Things really were changing, and I realized I didn't want them to. He said news of the project was spreading, and they had come to warn people. He said the consortium was trolling dead cities for the poor and desperate. He talked about life and death, how the project wasn't only a sin. If it worked, it would be the worst crime in history. A murder beyond all murders, burning the afterlife for an earthly purpose. You had grown quiet. I felt some unknowable threat and wanted to always be close enough to touch. You made love to me with a violence I'd never seen in you. Then it seemed I only blinked, and you were gone. You left a note that said you had volunteered, that you would miss me and would see me again. I kept walking, going to the river, looking for you and not looking for you. He talked for a long time, but I don't remember everything. I know he told me you sent him and you were safe and comfortable, but I couldn't see or speak to you. He said there had been thousands of volunteers and you were the only person selected. I asked why only you, and he said it should only take one, and you were unique and immeasurable. I asked if you would be in any pain, and he said not physically, but otherwise he didn't know. He said it was the first set of bonds of many to come, and I would receive them for the rest of my life. I said there was no money, no banks here. He said there will be. Then he thanked me. People began to arrive in the city, eager for the first new power. Some of them just wanting to be part of it, some on religious pilgrimages. For you. I looked at their faces and saw people we could have been. We could have been returning to the city together, ragged and weary. I resented them for it, and I resented you. The day finally came. People gathered on distant vantage points, scared of what might happen and anticipating the display. Talking about the lighted skyline, remembering what it used to look like. I saw a child, a little boy who mistook me for his father. is you. If you are aware, if my writing helps. I used to want so bad to talk to you and ask why you did it. But I stopped that. I feel like going away where there are no lights, nothing. But I don't. I look at everything around me, and you're there, but it's not you. I feel the light on my skin, and I imagine you touching me. You must be so lonely. I wish I could see you again in the flesh, or be what you are. But this is all I can do, scribble here the things I don't have words for, and hope you can understand. I want it to be you. I want you to hear me.